Hey folks, I'm here in my neighborhood in Brooklyn, New York. I just had a kind of a slow afternoon, went to the gym, exercised a little bit. I came across something that I felt was worth commenting on. So I'm just gonna share this all with you. One of the main socialist, communist groups in the United States, not one of the bigger ones, but it's a pretty prevalent one, is called the Freedom Road Socialist Organization. And they claim to be a Marxist, Leninist, anti-revisionist communist organization, pro-Stalin, pro-Mao, from the Maoist tradition. And a while back, I criticized them because at a time when the United States government is marching us closer and closer to World War III against Russia, rather than protesting against that, the Freedom Road Socialist Organization has been working with campus administrations around the country to try and ban Republican and conservative organizations from their campuses. It's one thing to be like, why are you helping the ruling class shut down certain opinions? But it's something even more when conservatives are less pro-war and less excited about a confrontation with Russia than liberals are. I mean, Freedom Road has literally been lining up with liberals and Democrats to try and ban Turning Points USA and other Republican groups from college campuses on the grounds that they're racist. And they've been using the rules that these colleges have, the loopholes that say that you can't be a racist on the campus, to get this Republican organization, Turning Points USA, banned. And they've been doing this, and they apparently have been successful. And they use like tweets that people make and, leaked documents or whatever to say that these Republican organizations on college campuses are racist and they have to be banned. And at the time that they started doing this, I critiqued that because I said, why are you helping shut down people that are less hostile to Russia, less excited about World War III than the Democrats are? I mean, that doesn't even make any sense. When one side is less pro-war than the other, why in the world are you helping outlaw them? Well, folks, I have to revisit this issue because it gets better. So I don't know if you saw, there's been a wave of pro-Palestine protests across the United States on college campuses.
Student revolution!
Which I support, right? College students have been getting up and saying, we don't want our college to invest in Israel. We don't want our college to be funding Israel, etc. And you may not have noticed, but a lot of these pro-Palestine college students got kicked out of their school. They got expelled or suspended from their university. What was the charge that they got suspended for? Anti-Semitism. These very same rules that say you can't be racist on a college campus and empower the government and the leading institutions of capitalist society to silence dissent. These very same rules that Freedom Road spent the entire Trump administration and the entire Biden administration trying to strengthen and weaponize against Republicans have been used to punish students for marching for Palestine. Freedom Road is responsible for all these pro-Palestine students getting expelled because they have spent years and years trying to enhance the ability of college campuses to expel or suspend students for allegedly being racist. I mean, that's just a fact. So you see all these students being expelled, that's Freedom Road. They did that. They have literally spent year after year organizing their campus organization, Students for a Democratic Society, to enable colleges to say that some student is racist and expel them. So if that right there doesn't expose them for being opportunists, I don't know what does, right? And they support these Palestine protesters. And they're even marching in support of the students that got expelled or kicked out of their university, not realizing that they're using the exact same rules, right? When Republicans were a little bit more critical of imperialism, those rules were used against them. And now on the issue of Israel-Palestine, liberal students are more critical of imperialism, and now the rules are being used against them. Like, it's just so obvious. This really leads me to talking about the bigger issue. Because, folks, I gotta just tell it to you. It's not just Freedom Road. It's the Party of Socialism and Liberation. It's the Communist Party USA. It's the Workers' World Party, which I was in for 8 years. These groups are scam organizations, right? I am 36 years old. I'm not supposed to be a communist anymore. I was supposed to join a communist group in college, and join it for 2 years and work my butt off, and then realize that the group has no real illusions of ever growing, realize that the group has no real strategy. I was then supposed to go back to graduate school, go and get a job, and now I'm supposed to be living a normal, comfortable life, hating communism. That's what these organizations are set up to be. Being a communist in America is supposed to be a college phase, and it's basically a scam that a few people, a few boomers have set up where they get to be the communists in America, and people in their 20s and teens that are on college campuses, that are away from home for the first 2 years, they look into this very edgy, forbidden ideology of communism, which you're not supposed to be in America, and they get into it, and they get excited about it, and they join the group, and after a couple of years of working and not seeing any progress, none of these groups have any plan for ever bringing socialism to the United States. They have no plan for ever building a base among the population. It's all just about, organizing liberal rallies and being the mob the Democrats need when they need some optics for CNN. And after 2 or 3 years, you're supposed to just move on with your life and hate communism and remember your college years as maybe idealistic youth transgressions, go back to just being a normal liberal. And that's probably what would have happened to me, except I met the global anti-imperialist movement. I went to the Islamic Republic of Iran in 2014. In 2015, I went on a ship to Yemen to try and deliver humanitarian aid. I went to the Global Communist Youth Gathering in Ecuador, in Quito, Ecuador in 2013. And then I was at the World Youth Festival in Russia in 2017. And I met the real global communist movement. And I met people that are of a totally different breed than the American scam communist organizations. I met communists that are in parliaments around the country that have seats. I met communists that lead labor unions that have millions of members. I met communists that are very, very serious and ideological and wear suits and ties and run the government in places like Angola and Vietnam and Venezuela and Cuba and lead whole provinces of India, places like Kerala in India. I met a totally different communist movement. And I learned, number one, that communist movement is not woke. They are not obsessed with that whole LGBT thing. Number two, I learned that their movements are about building, mass construction. The Soviet Union, Stalin turned it into an industrial superpower, and he built huge steel mills and power plants, and China is now the second largest economy in the world. And while the Western left is about tearing things down, expressing rage and anger and adolescent frustration, the global communist movement is largely about building, constructing, lifting people out of poverty, building infrastructure, etc. In addition to that, I learned that the global communist movement doesn't hate God. Yes, Marx was an atheist. Yes, there was heavy repression of Christians during the 20th century. But now, the leader of the Russian Communist Party, Gennady Zyuganov, he's a Russian Orthodox Christian. Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela, he is a Roman Catholic. Daniel Ortega, the leader of Nicaragua, he's also Roman Catholic. And this infantile culture war against Christianity and against religion that the communist movement once waged, that is now the obsession of the woke crowd and the American communist groups that just wave the rainbow flag all day, that's not where the global communist movement is at. Marxism, socialism is based on the understanding that capitalism and the rule of the dollar and the free market holds back development. And we have a global system called imperialism that is holding back development all over the world. The technological revolution, the computer revolution, leads to human labor being replaced with machines and poverty created by abundance, the built-in problem, people becoming homeless because there are too many houses, people becoming hungry because there is too much food. Capitalism has this problem. Great technological leaps are followed by long-term economic crises, and that abundance creates poverty. And that's the problem with capitalism. It's holding back humanity and our ability to grow and expand, our ability to provide a decent life for everyone. And socialism is when the broad masses of people, the majority of humanity, seize control of the means of production and operate them rationally in order to have economic growth and expansion. And if you look at the socialist countries of the world, they have market sectors, They don't have the government running the hotels and the restaurants. They have worker cooperatives for artists, etc. There's a role for the market in things that make life fun, like children's toys and clothing, etc. That's what socialism and Marxism are really about. It's not this adolescent rebellion, and it's certainly not this scam that PSL and Freedom Road and these other groups are running. And I discovered that, and I became an adherent of that movement, right? And I became somebody who has gone to communist gatherings all over the world, somebody who is friendly with communist governments and anti-imperialist governments all over the world, and that became my perspective. And I got to tell you, it's been a bumpy ride. I set up the Center for Political Innovation, and we became a new organization, and immediately the hate that was poured down on me was massive. I mean, these people, Freedom Road, Workers World, PSL, Communist Party USA, these people, they panicked because they're basically just thieves being caught in the act. I'm preaching what they're supposed to be preaching. I'm building a movement that they're supposed to be building, and their scam is being exposed. And these people have gone nuts in reaction to me. They've lost their minds, right? Nothing scares them more than I do. They have literally paid people in my organization to talk shit about my personal life. The Communist Party never writes articles about any other communist group. They pretend they don't exist, but they wrote a big, long hit piece about me. I scared the living bejesus out of these people because I'm actually believing in what they're supposed to be believing, and I'm building the kind of movement that they're supposed to be building. And right now, working people are struggling, and the imperialists are marching us toward a new world war. And what we need now more than ever is a mass movement of working people standing up and saying we need jobs and schools and healthcare, and that our real enemy is not in Russia or China or Iran or some other country. Our real enemy is here at home. It's on Wall Street. It's in the Pentagon. The working people of this country have a common destiny with the people of the world that are struggling against imperialism. And the message of the mainstream left is that if you think that, well, you're spreading conspiracy theories. You must be a Trump or racist, right? At this point, the mainstream left defends the FBI, the same FBI that murdered Fred Hampton, right? And you have to just break with leftism. Because leftism, when it gets down to it, is a movement of rebellion. It's a movement of rebellion and destruction. It's a movement about unleashing rage, whereas what we need is a constructive movement. A movement that brings people together. And the slogan that we've used in the Center for Political Innovation is, we need a government of action that will fight for working families. And that is what we need, a government that will control the means of production and organize the economy to lift people up, eradicate poverty, move us away from war and the low-wage police state. We need a government of action to fight for working families. And so that's my whole reaction to the whole Freedom Road situation. Thought it was worth sharing with you all. Hope you're all having a lovely day. We'd love to have you as a member of the Center for Political Innovation. Feel free to join cpiusa.org. We're looking to have another big convention in the year of 2025. We got some more activities in the coming months. So yeah, this project continues, and no matter what these fake leftists and these grifters throw at us, we just keep going. We will not surrender. We will not give up. And I'm glad you're all here.